Ethiopia's technical and vocational education training system is set on the right track. Specified policies recommended to promote innovation and productivity in medium and small enterprises. And talent show promotes local arts and culture in Zimbabwe. Those are the main headlines in this news edition. Hello, welcome to EBC News with the news. I'm Shmuel Slemma. United States Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, says her country is desirous to strengthen ties with Africa. The ambassador has conferred with AU officials in Addis Ababa. That was on Monday. Twabu Yerda reports.
As part of a regional tour to East Africa, U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, arrived in Addis Ababa on Monday. The ambassador met Prime Minister Hailemariam Desalegn, where the two discussed various bilateral, regional and global issues, including the Ethio-US relations and the current situations in the East Africa region. As IGAD chairperson, the Premier briefed the ambassador about the developments in South Sudan peace process. Ambassador Nikki also took time to confer with AU officials here at the headquarters. On the press briefing held after the discussion, the ambassador said the two parties have deliberated on how to further strengthen US-Africa ties.
The United States very much sees Africa as a very important part of the world. We see great opportunities in Africa. We see challenges in Africa, but we want to support and help in those situations. But most importantly, we want to see how we can partner together, whether that is through economic development, whether it's through strategic practices, whether it's through political solutions.
Nikki took the opportunity to express U.S. commitment to sustain backing the peace process in South Sudan and the fight against terrorism in Somalia.
So we're going to continue to look to the AU for guidance. We're going to continue to look to IGAD to see how they think we can best support. Our goal is to try and support a situation so that we have a stronger stability here as opposed to anything that would weaken the area.
AU Political Affairs Commissioner noted that Africa needs support from the international community, including the US, to ensure sustainable peace across the continent. Concluding her stay in Ethiopia on Tuesday, Ambassador Nikki will be heading to South Sudan and Democratic Republic of Congo.
Ethiopia's Technical and Vocational Education Training TVET system is said to be on the right path of development. This came on an international conference that aimed at showcasing the growth and achievements of Ethiopia's TVET system underway in Addis Ababa. Abraham Asrat reports.
Ethiopia's technical and vocational education training system has been functional for about 2 decades, with various achievements and some shortcomings in the process. In a mission to further realize the goal of TVET in the country, the government has been taking bold steps in expanding the institutions and adopting practices of successful countries in the sector. The government is working toward creating a firm relationship between industries and universities to give momentum for TVET system.
To further strengthen and maximize the economic growth of the country and to meet the inclusive sustainable development goals of 2030, we have created synergy and harmony amongst all actors of education and training subsectors. Synergy between TVET, university and industry, transition from high school to TVET, and from functional adult literacy to TVET.
Experts in the sector have encouraged Ethiopia's growth path through making TVET a valuable contributor in the economy.
This would be the major breakthrough, to my understanding. So the question where we are here now, I told already before, it's still a young system. So you cannot really shorten the development cycles. In Germany, it's more than 100 years. You have it since 15 or 20, not even 20 years. So it needs this time. But I think it is now the time where Ethiopia has remarkable growth rates since a decade. The industry is growing in different sectors. International investment is very much attracted by government to come in.
The TVET system is established right on time to support your efforts to transform the country into a middle-income country as laid out in the second growth and transformation plan of the Ethiopian government that emphasizes the development of light manufacturing in various industrial sectors. The German government greatly acknowledges the relevance of vocational training as a driver for economic and social development.
I think you need technical vocationally trained people to build a country, to build an economy. So definitely this is one of the most important sectors in the education sector to focus on. In Germany, the TVET system has a very, very long tradition, so the whole development, the history is very different to Ethiopia. I think it was a strong pillar of economic development since centuries in Germany. In Ethiopia, I think it is just becoming such a pillar now.
The conference is expected to be a platform for examining the contribution of TVET system for Ethiopia's socio-economic development.
Research indicated the need to formulate a specified policy in promoting innovation and productivity of micro and small enterprises. The sector has still remained the largest job creator in Ethiopia, according to the study. Sadat Mohammed Sani has the following report.
Since the early 2000s, the Ethiopian government has implemented development strategies emphasizing the role of small and micro enterprises in job creation, particularly in urban areas. As a result, the sector has received a wide variety of support, including finance, improved market access, trainings, among others. According to a study conducted by Ethiopian Development Research Institute, enterprises have emerged and thousands of jobs are created since the inception of the program.
There are plenty of a number of enterprises that has emerged in the last 10 years. According to our data, from these 10 cities, we have found like about 5,000 small enterprises that employ between 6 and 30 people.
Despite the attention given, there are knowledge gaps regarding performance and the circumstances in which small business entrepreneurs operate, the finding indicates.
The MSE sector, this is the second job creator next to agriculture, and the dominant number of firms are still the small and micro enterprises, and the government also provides lots of supports for these micro and small enterprises, but the graduation rate is not really encouraging.
Although the sector employed large number of users, the sustainability of jobs is still a concern.
Even though we are claiming as a government that we are creating millions of jobs, the issue of sustainability of these jobs still remains a challenge, especially the issue of going into the productive sector, manufacturing sector, remains still a challenge.
The sector is expected to be the breeding platform for the anticipated industrialization and domestic investors. To realize these targets, the research forwarded some policy recommendations.
One thing that the government could do is have to be selective in their policy. If the policy is geared towards improving the productivity and growth of MSEs, then that policy should target only dynamic enterprises. If you focus on survivalists, if you provide support for survivalist or constrained enterprises, you will not achieve your growth or productivity target.
Recognizing the challenges, the government has started taking measures.
The focus has to be more on the manufacturing side. The focus also has to be on enterprise creation. When we launch GTP2, the government, once again rearranged, the initial setup, splitting the issue of, job creation, massive job creation of, in fact, every type, including informal nature of job creation and food security, from what we call it enterprise creation.
The research conducted by the institute has covered major towns of the 9 regional states as well as Addis Ababa and was learned.
Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries has framed a strategy to eradicate transboundary animal diseases. An international conference is held at Adama town to discuss on the approach. Shifa Raulago has more on that.
Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries said that a strategy has been framed to eradicating transboundary animal diseases. An international conference is happening at the town of Adama in Oromia State to discuss the strategy with pertinent stakes. Transboundary diseases appear when pastoralists move from one place to another in search of food and water during times of drought.
To tackle transboundary disease, first, we identify the major ones in order of their
impact to prevent them effectively. The federal government provides vaccine to pastoralists and farmers free of charge.
The strategy framed last year will serve until 2025 in preventing transboundary diseases. National Institute of Animal Health says the 93 million doses of vaccine in the first growth and transformation plan has now reached to 200 million doses.
We hugely developed our capacity of preventing transboundary diseases during the first growth and transformation plan. We this time have even greater capacity to prevent the disease.
In order to prevent the diseases, 90 million animals were vaccinated last year. 50 million animals will be vaccinated this Ethiopian year, the state minister noted.
Ethiopia's Hawassa Industrial Park wins ANR Best Projects 2017 award under Best Manufacturing category. ANR, or Engineering News Record, is a United States-based website that provides engineering and construction news, analysis, commentary and data around the world. Tabawirda has looked up the website.
The annual ANR Award named the Hawassa Industrial Park in southern Ethiopia state as the Best Manufacturing Project 2017. As stated on the ANR website, the park has won the award mainly for its very short construction time and immediate production commencement. The park, that hosted 37 factory sheds, was completed in just 9 months. Vocational training was provided for all construction and technical employees over the 9-month period of active construction. Other project benefits, including increased employment for those living around Hawassa, stronger local labor skills and a higher standard of living, were also mentioned by ANR article. The Chinese CCECC company conducted the construction, which engaged more than 2,000 local workers. The article also stated the fact that the facility complies with a zero-emission standard, resulting in 90% of water being recycled. Rainwater collection and landscape pools are in place to green the surrounding area, a strategy which reduces local water consumption. The article goes on to say that most of the buildings are cooled and heated automatically thanks to structural alignment and the modern energy conservation technology. The Hawassa Industrial Park is expected to back Ethiopia's vision of becoming Africa's manufacturing hub by 2025.
Ethiopian Science Academy unveils a booklet on Monday that helps Ethiopia maximize its benefits from demographic dividend. The booklet is meant to provide input for policymakers, thereby help maintaining sustainable development in the country. Daniel Kassan reports.
The text unveiled by Ethiopian Science Academy underlines the very fact that it is imperative for Ethiopia to effectively address issues related to its demographic dividend so as to achieve the aspired growth in the years to come. Presenting the paper, Dr. Asef Hailemaryam indicated it's timely to exert concerted efforts to improve the living standards of citizens through effective implementation of policies and strategies of the country.
To make people working in the program area to be aware about population, to be aware about age structure transition, to make them aware about demographic dividend.
Commenting on the booklet, Minister of Finance and Economic Cooperation, Abraham Tekeste, said the effort exerted by the Science Academy helps policymakers to have rich understandings and inputs in the policy making.
Providing scholarly views on demographic dividend helps a lot to enrich policy outlooks among policymakers, thereby crafting plausible guidelines which help the country achieve its aspired growth and transformation in the stated times.
Senior government officials who took part in the launching of the booklet indicated since Ethiopia is undergoing a demographic transition and change in the age structure of its population, the booklet opens a window of opportunities to improve platform in the country.
A document of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa discloses that child poverty is high in Africa. An international conference happens in Addis Ababa on child poverty and inequality in Africa under the theme Putting Children First. Mercer Tajaba has attended the event.
Documents from UNICEF and the World Bank Group show that over the past 2 decades, child poverty remains high, with 50% of extremely poor children living in sub-Saharan Africa. Cognizant of this, researchers, policy makers and other stakes are converged here in Addis Ababa to discuss and identify more ways in tackling child poverty and inequality in Africa.
Nowhere in the world are children more central to a continent's future than in Africa. It is therefore no rhetoric that in today's development landscape, children must be put first. They should be our topmost priority as we look for pathways to unlock poverty and inequality on the continent.
Director of Social Development and Policy Division at UNICEF puts nutrition at the center of solution to alleviating child poverty.
Children undernutrition is a key factor contributing to high morbidity and mortality and is cause of more than half the deaths of children in poor countries across Africa. The regional picture, though, masks individual country performances because of gaps in evidence and data. So capacitating member states on improved collection and dissemination of data on child poverty is a priority for ECA.
Pinpointing Ethiopia's experience on poverty reduction, Minister of Women and Children Affairs on the juncture called for joint efforts on the issue.
Because of the government's and its development partners' efforts, national poverty rates have seen a significant reduction over the past decade, decreasing from 38.9% in 2003 to 29.6% in 2011. We should also look for ways to work together. We should be able to establish a strong partnership between researchers, policymakers, and the practitioners.
Increased commitment of African governments is said vital to eradicating child poverty in the continent.
Child poverty is everyone's problem, and national governments should make addressing it their absolute priority. Given the gravity and intensity of the situation in Africa, the governments are urged to focus and accelerate their efforts, for the children living in poverty cannot wait any longer.
Measurements of child poverty, education, nutrition, social protection, migration, conflict and uncertainty are among the agendas for discussion in this conference.
And finally, Harare has just hosted the 4th edition of Dream Star Zimbabwe Talent Show. Their talent show seeks to empower creative young people as well as promote local arts and culture. Abraham Ashrath has more from CGTN.
It was a mixed bag of thrills at Dream Star Zimbabwe 2017 finals. From the captivating instrumentalists, the energetic dancers, right up to the polished acts of vocal expression, up for grabs $3,000, and a band called Footprints took home the grand prize.
We really put in a lot of hard work, but still the competition was stiff, but we really worked.
Art in its diverse forms is instrumental in creating a platform for cultural exchange. Members within Zimbabwe's creative field that talent search initiatives like this one must continually be supported.
Life is presented artistically. The way you walk, the way you talk, the way you breathe, it's all about art. And we are saying the moment we forget or neglect art, we are neglecting life itself.
Organizers say they are encouraging local artists to be rewarded for their efforts and creativity.
What we want to do is to use the talent search platform to encourage the platform for people to have a job, to become a commercial artist, to go around the nation, to go around the continental as well as the international, to make money for the country or make money for their family.
Dream Star Zimbabwe was launched in 2014. This year it will take 30 performers on tour in China, where they are expected to showcase the best of what Zimbabwe has to offer.
Well, that's it in this edition. Many thanks for watching and have a good time.